I want to start by painting you a picture of two women and ask you if you could step into the shoes of either, who would you choose? We'll start with woman number one. She's been unemployed for almost a year and barely has any savings. Good start, right? She's single and spends a lot of time sitting in silence alone in her New York City studio apartment. That's woman number one. Woman number two. Her office sits atop the iconic 30 Rockefeller Plaza in New York City. She works with Fortune 500 executives around the world. She lives in a luxury apartment on the Upper East Side of New York City with her well-to-do, caring partner, combined making $300,000 to $400,000 a year in income. She's getting engaged soon, and she was accepted to Harvard Business School 4 years in advance and is getting ready to start her MBA. Which woman would you rather be? So, woman number two, let's be honest, right? Let's be honest, woman number two is fabulous, impressive. I was woman number two exactly 1 year ago today. Today, I'm woman number one. How did I end up here? Would you believe me if I told you that all those changes, I made those myself. They were my choice, and I've never been happier than I am today. Well, I got here because I achieved Nirvana. Almost, okay? Not quite, there's some work to do, and not maybe the Nirvana that you're thinking of, but we'll get there. It's the perfect double entendre for this story, okay? So actually, my parents almost named me Nirvana. I'll take it back a bit. My parents had just immigrated to Boston from India, and they thought it was a profound name that would tie me to my Indian ancestry. Nirvana represents liberation from cycles of death and rebirth and certain traditions rooted there. But some of their more culturally aware friends let them know about the band Nirvana and the rebellious reputation of Nirvana and their fan base that partakes in risky behavior. My parents didn't want to predisposition me to a life of rebellion or at least have to defend my name to those who didn't know its true meaning. So they instead named me Karina. So hi everybody, I'm Karina. Karina was a much less controversial, more international name with only positive meanings that they could find. Pure, love, innocence, beauty. All true, right? But one definition they found also said Karina embodies a focused and determined achiever. A beautiful idea for a new baby daughter. My parents sacrificed a lot to raise my brother and I in Boston. They were hardworking doctors with no family nearby to support them, and they poured all their earnings into our education to integrate us into that academic rigor of the Northeast. Yet, despite attending the all-girls private school with the highest Ivy League acceptance rate in the country, I was not ultimately admitted to an Ivy League college. And at the time, it felt that American dream my parents in part moved here for was left unrealized. Flash forward. 1 year ago today, I'm 24 and my life is set. Great job, a life partner, Harvard of all places around the corner. Yet every day I felt I was betraying myself. I took on different personas at work, at home with my partner, with my family, with my friends, constantly shape-shifting to fit the mold of what I thought others needed me to be, constantly suppressing different parts of myself and my passions. I felt suffocated, and in moments of solitude, I would look at myself and wonder, am I ready to be all set? In that time of hardship, I met someone, and it's been my dirty little secret until now. This person, I developed a fiery, intense, passionate relationship with them. It was difficult though because they didn't live nearby. she existed in a parallel universe. And her name was Nirvana. Nirvana was a risk taker, but she wasn't ignorantly rebellious. She exuded confidence, but was equally humble. She took the road less traveled and smiled every step of the way in her personal liberation. I spent a lot of time thinking about her, to the point that I started to meditate on her. I focused intensely on every detail of Nirvana. What does she look like? How does that smile gleam? And I started to think more about how does she feel on the inside. I started to embody that feeling of liberation. And the more that I did that, the more I realized I didn't have to exile Nirvana to some parallel existence in the corner of my mind. I could become her in this universe if I found the courage in this body. So I started a process of realization that Nirvana represented my ultimate, uninhibited, limitless self. And I started to merge my present image of Karina with that image of Nirvana. And along the way, had to start a process of radical renunciation. At least it felt like it at the time. First came my resignation. And then as I started to make more changes, I faced some more scrutiny. Much of it came from within. I thought, you spoiled girl, can't you just be content with what you have? Then I turned 25 and everyone started asking me, are you having a quarter-life crisis? But believe me, it was anything but a crisis that got me here. I found refuge in not an alter ego, but a future self. Unknowingly, I was actually partaking in a very ancient practice, future self refuge meditation. I had to sit with my self-limiting beliefs, my inner cynicism, and realize that only fear could substantiate any argument that I'm not, in fact, limitless, because I am. Forget about woman one, woman two, Karina, Nirvana. I'm every woman. It's all in me. And if it's all in me, I know it must all be in you too. I know I said I was unemployed, but I've actually recently become an accredited meditation teacher, and I want to make a few things clear. Firstly, you don't need to defend yourself to anyone if you want to make radical changes in your life and if they come from a place of wisdom. Secondly, I'm not telling you to quit your jobs and leave your relationships. I had my hardships, but I also had my privileges. And I had safety nets to rely on. I have a supportive, generous family. I'm still going to Harvard. Some of you are holding your breath, I see it, but I'm still going to Harvard. But despite those safety nets, I still found myself crippled with fear and anxiety of what others may or may not think about me if I started to make a change. Meditation is not about reaching some mythical dimension or escapism. It's about taking a journey inward to discover a world within you that's just waiting to be explored. I want to ask you to take a moment and pause, breathe, and observe yourself without judgment. What are those limitations that you're imposing upon yourself, small or large, that keep you from reaching your innermost desires and aspirations? They're all here. You can feel them. You can tap into them. Who is your version of Nirvana? I would love to meet them. Thank you.